Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Welcome one, welcome all. I am Katie Patrick, joined by Mr. Pumpkin Spice and everything nice.
Yes.
David Fiorazzo. Now, before we do get started, please make sure you have our Freedom Project Media app on your phone, basically, and your tablet. Why not put it on both? It's a free app, and it allows us to notify you when new episodes are ready. As you probably are aware, Facebook is maybe not the biggest of fans of ours, so please download the Freedom Project Media app and allow for notifications. Well, today, we're going to start with the ridiculous woke indoctrination of our nation's military. As it turns out, the U.S. Air Force Academy is now training cadets to not only use words that include all genders, but hey, stop using words like mom and dad.
Come on, Katie, that's offensive to some people.
I'm so sorry, not.
Mom and dad. And we're talking about the military here? We're talking about grade school. Oh, okay. A diversity and inclusion training by the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado instructs cadets to use words that include all genders, right? The slide presentation is titled Diversity and Inclusion. I thought the DIE or the DEI was just in public schools and academia and the university level, but apparently now it's the armed forces. So what is it and why we care? And what can we do? Advises cadets to use, quote, person-centered and gender-neutral language when describing individuals. Let's just look at that first slide there. What can I do now? We're talking about inclusive language, which 50 years ago, nobody cared. We just cared about defending a nation and our borders, but not anymore. What do people call themselves? When in doubt, ask. Include all genders. Katie, take it away here. I'm gonna get frustrated with this. Nonsense.
Well, the simple fact that if you're just listening to us, you can't see. But if you can see, there are how many bullet points in here that these people need to memorize? We can't just use the standard English language. We now have to make it so specific that our cadets for the Air Force has to actually understand that, you have to include all the genders, which include y'all, team, squaddies. Squaddies.
What?
That sounds very, well, hey, you're out there in battle. Squaddies.
Squaddies.
Squaddies. Come on up, squaddies. You can say everyone and folks. Oh, folks. But you can't say you guys. Well, then. And then you can say a partner, but you can't say a boyfriend, girlfriend.
Oh, brother.
Probably can't say that either.
Yeah, you can't say, oh, brother. So parents, caregivers, instead of mom and dad, parents, you can say, at least you can still say parents, but the next one, not colorblind, or I don't see color, or we're just all people. In other words, all lives matter. You can't say that.
Well, wait. What if I am colorblind? Like, females aren't colorblind, but males, I guess, can be colorblind. What if
some guys are colorblind?
I can't see color? Like, literally, I can't see color. Leave me alone.
Do you see the way some men dress? Anyway, what the N, the R, or the F? I don't understand that. Can you translate that for me?
Oh, well, the N word.
Oh,
and you
okay,
can't
that
say
word.
the R word.
What's the R word?
Well, can I say it?
I really don't know what it is.
To retard something.
Oh.
And that is used in the proper term.
Okay.
That's and the F word we know. But anyways, wait, what? We can't say terrorist now? Wait.
Wait a minute. Is this...
Hold on. Stop.
Is this the military we're talking about?
This is the Air Force cadet training.
Yeah.
And you cannot, in the Air Force cadet training, say terrorist.
Okay. I want to read something real quick before we run out of time. This is important. A friend of mine who I interview sometimes on Stand Up for the Truth podcast, her name is Cheryl Chumley. She writes for the Washington Times. And the title of her article is Air Force Goes Full Throttle Pansy. And she says, this past June, there was a headline that said, U.S. Marine Corps goes woke, celebrates Pride Month with rainbow bullets. And the U.S. military is facing the biggest recruiting shortfall. So there are a lot of consequences from some of this woke garbage, right? And political correctness and all that. And when you're trying to protect a nation from enemies who would like to kill us or damage or destroy America. This kind of stuff that the Biden administration is pushing is dangerous if you think about it on that way. And it says U.S. military is facing the biggest recruiting shortfall in decades. In fact, it's the first time the military recruitment has been this low since the military got rid of the draft in 1973. And she says, who wants to join the military out of patriotic pride, honor, and duty for America, only to be told such patriotism is racist? And one more thing, she says the White House needs to get serious about America's fighting forces, but quick. It's only a matter of time before governments hostile to America exploit the weakness of our going woke military branches. Pansies are for planting, not fighting. That's Cheryl Chumley at the Washington Times.
Pansies are pretty. I like pansies.
They're for planting,
but not in my military.
not fighting.
Not in my military, because
Oh.
if you put the diversity, inclusivity, and equity into our military, that's exactly what you'll get out. You will get DIE, die, and that's
Oh.
what's going to happen to all of us. But hey, it didn't just stop with their whole, like, why, D&I for them is important and all this. They had to start first with just a little, we call them icebreakers or brain teasers or something. And so they had our, again, Air Force Academy cadets do a 1-minute activity. Oh, no internet access allowed for this.
Oh, this has got to be grade school. This
you
is
had
not
to. No, sorry.
military.
This is our Air Force, okay, David? Now, you need to get a piece of paper and a writing utensil, because can we not say pens or pencils anymore? Is that offensive too? A writing utensil.
I guess you can write with lipstick.
And then when whoever the I is, say go, list as many G animals as you can think of on a piece of paper.
Really?
And then put your writing utensils down when I say stop.
Okay.
Now, I'm offended by, you're going to tell me to stop? How dare you? But let's see what the results of
G animals?
G animals.
What is this? This is the Air Force.
Yes, David, but we're going to find out. Oh my goodness gracious, look at all those G animals. Did you know such things exist? Like a green bee eater or a green rat snake.
What a golden masked owl.
Yes, there's a golden newfie. Oh, they're big. Anyway, there's golden things and there's German things. Are we allowed to talk about the Germans?
Gecko.
In the Air Force? Anyway.
Guinea pig.
You got that? Hey, how about a gorilla? Oh, that's offensive to me. Anyway, here are all the ones they came up with, including a gnat. I like it. But then, what's the point, you may ask? Well, they had a point. Of course they had a point. How many G animals did you generate as an individual? And how many G animals did your class/squadron or squaddies generate? What does this activity show us about the power of combining our diverse perspectives? If this were an operational USSF challenge, think COH 11.
Nonsense.
What risks might be present if we did not fully leverage the diversity of our group? Yes, because when we're in battle together, our squaddy, if we can't name all of the, T letter animals, I mean, where would we be?
This is amazing. This is amazing.
on
I
force.
mean, it's a story because it's happening in our military. I want to just quote Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. He said, every hour, every day you're spending training on this stuff, you're not training on all the other things that we need that I would argue would be a higher priority to fight and win wars. All right, we got to move on. Still to come, we head to the streets of Georgetown, to ask students their thoughts on the new push to remove grading from college classes. That's next.
If you have a smartphone, tablet, Roku, or Apple TV, consider downloading the Freedom Project Media app. It's 100% free and includes all of our weekly shows, plus lecture series, archive programs, and award-winning animated videos for families like the Presidential Minute, Battles of America, and Heroes of the West. Don't rely on the social media giants to keep you informed. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app from your app store and allow notifications. And we'll let you know when a new video is ready.
Shocker. I have a shocker.
Uh-oh.
Not really. Universities are trying to make it even more difficult to fail our students. That shocks no one. And at the same time that they're trying to not fail them, they're clearly failing them, which is, I guess, an irony. Well, there's been talk little chatter about switching grading systems from having grades to just a simple pass or no pass. We can't even say pass fail because ouch, triggered if you say the word fail.
Well, they can't call it a grading system
Yes,
anymore.
it's not. So then you go. Let's go from a pass, no pass system. And
Wow.
Campus Reform actually reported on this back in May how the University of California system was considering permanently going to the switching to a pass, no pass. And we talked about it on the show. And this obviously will solve the bias and inequities problem that we have. Supposedly, which obviously it doesn't. So Allie Simon, who is Campus Reform's editorial intern, decided to hit the sidewalks at Georgetown and ask the youngins what they think about ditching the A to F scale. Take a look.
So currently the University of California system and MIT are both considering making the pass-fail system permanent and here to stay, even as we start to transition out of the COVID era. So would you be in support of this?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't want my engineer from MIT to be like pass fail.
Yeah, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
I think I would.
I would definitely not.
Having a pass-fail system would allow them more room to like live their life.
It's really beneficial, and even if it's more of an option.
No, that's wrong. If someone doesn't do well in school, it doesn't mean that they're dumb or not intelligent. It just, certain things work for other people.
It's like if you're passing at a C level, that person that got a C could be a future doctor.
The American Bar Association is considering getting rid of the LSAT as well, and some colleges like the California State System and Stanford University have already gotten rid of the ACT and SAT requirements. So how do you guys think this would affect the overall value of higher education?
I wouldn't want a lawyer representing me that, may not be as well versed in those fields, but, undergrad is a different story.
The LSAT doesn't really determine like how well somebody's going to do in law school.
If everyone can get into top colleges, there's like no point in them being top colleges anymore.
Like hopefully the institutions remain strong enough to, make skilled workers.
Well then,
Wow.
that's always some good stuff. In watching the full clip of it, it is actually quite funny because the two females, the one in the pink and the other one in the other not so much clothing, kind of get into a little tiff, a little fight. And she says, the one in pink says, I don't want, her to her friend or whatever, you're dumb, basically, and says, I don't want you to,
Bring
I don't
me
want to
down.
work with you, bring me down. But it makes a good point. If we get rid of the A to F, it makes it even easier. If there's, instead of going, A, B, C, D, F, 5 tiers to 2 tiers, how many people are going to put forth a lot of effort? Once they get into that pass, they're done. And I certainly don't want my doctor to be just having passed.
This is a completely aside from the point, but I didn't like when I was in school when they went from A, B, C, D, E to A, B, C, D, F, because my last name starts with F, and I thought, wait a minute. Why put fail there? Why can't we just leave the E? What did the E stand for, by the way? Do you remember?
I don't know.
Because it used to be A, B, C, D. You got an E.
It wasn't an E in my day. I'm a little young.
Because they were going in order. A, B, C, D,
Because E means excellence, so
What
maybe
happened
it's
to the E?
wrong. I have no
Okay,
idea.
excellent. I guess-
not anymore. Certainly not at our colleges. But it does. The one point I will say is when they're talking about the LSATs and maybe getting rid of the LSATs and how California already is getting rid of like ACT, SAT. This past weekend, actually, I was talking to some of my youngins who I work with at my apple orchard. And the kid is in 7th grade. And I was like, what are you guys doing in English class? What are you doing in history class? I always ask him every weekend, what are you doing in these classes? And I think it was his English class, interestingly enough. Oh, we're prepping for the ACT. He's in 7th grade. This is what they are spending time doing in schools, is prepping for tests. And not tests that you, the teacher, develop based on what you're teaching your students, but these standardized tests, the ACTs, the SATs, that have no bearing on what they actually know because they're just filling in bubbles. So in that respect, get rid of all these tests, but have standards. If you get rid of the tests, then you're definitely getting rid of like every standard, and you go to a pass-fail system. What are we going to churn out? What are we already churning out?
Yes. Good question.
Excellent. Well, anyway, I'll get off my high horse. Nay. When we come back, we ask the question, how many college students today could pass a basic U.S. citizenship test? We have some startling answers, probably not that startling to you, but we're going to share them when we return.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on pristine quality bedding, towels, slippers, signature pillows, and much more when you use the code EDUCATED. That's EDUCATED. Educated. Support this show and a great American company.
All right, so let's just play pretend, as our country has been doing for how long now. We're going to pretend we're going to go to a simple pass-fail, or I'm sorry, pass-no-pass system. And we already know that an overwhelming majority of students cannot pass a citizenship test. In case you didn't know that, well, I'm going to back it up with some statistics now. So we're going to add on to our already barely passed, kids who have already barely passed all their classes, and we're going to then see where in 10 years from now how our society is doing if we go to this simple pass, no pass type system. But we're going to talk specifically about the citizenship test and one professor's little science experiment, social science experiment. Nicholas Giordano is a professor of political science. He's the host of the PAS Report podcast, and he's a fellow at Campus Reform's Higher Education Fellowship. Well, he has 2 decades, so 20 years. Huh? Look at that. I know that.
I even knew that one.
You did? Yes. 2 decades of teaching experience, and he recently wrote about his experience from the classroom. And he said he learned early on in his teaching career that students lacked basic understanding of the founding of our country. So, he said, I decided the best way to measure my students' understanding of the American government was to issue 2 assignments. And it's funny because I did the same thing in my Intro to American Government course. At the beginning of this semester, first day of class actually, he gives his students a citizenship exam, asking the most very basic of questions about our founding and about our government. And it's like, if you want to be a citizen of this country, other than just running across the border, if you want to become a citizen, you have to know these questions, or a variety of questions like this, such as, who's the Speaker of the House? Which branch of government has the power to declare war? Who's considered the father of the Constitution? So on and so forth. So he has these questions on this simple test, and he said that basically the overwhelming majority of the students fail the exam.
Wow.
Maybe mom and dad, you're watching, did you know all the answers?
Well, there's a difference between failing and getting one wrong.
Oh, there is. Yeah. Except he's got the data to show exactly how much the kids fail. So, after 12 years of administering this exam.
Uh-oh.
Drum roll, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Only 348 students have passed out of 2,176. A shameful indictment of our K-12 education system, he says.
Wow. Even
worse, the passing rate has dropped compared to when I first began giving the exam and has been stagnant over the last 5 years. It's September. He started the school year. Guess what happened on the first day of class test this year?
What happened?
Sadly, he says, this semester is no different. The pass rate for the test is 70%. Okay? You need to get a 70 to pass it.
Okay, got it.
So you can get some wrong and still pass. You don't have to be perfect. I would have gotten them all right.
So that means if there's 10 questions, you need to get 7 right.
Look at you and doing your math. I like it. You would need to get 7 out of the 10. Out of the approximately 175 students he had.
Oh, wait.
Thank you. 175 students this semester. 11 passed.
You're kidding
11,
me.
he said, were able to pass out of 175.
Oh, Lord, help us.
Yes, please do. Now, for the second assignment that he also provides to test
but
all
wait,
of this.
There's more.
He says, I provide them, the students, with Chapter 1 of the Russian Constitution, replacing Russian Federation with the United States and Duma with Congress. So he just takes a couple words and switches and makes it saying, hey,
That's great.
here's the U.S. Constitution. The Russian Constitution was crafted in 1993, okay? So mind you, relatively new in terms of like country organization time, okay. It begins with, we the multinational people. And he includes chapter 1, which consists of 16 articles. And students are asked to provide a 1-paragraph written response sharing their thoughts on the Constitution, which they think is the U.S. Constitution.
What grade is this?
This is college.
No.
Anyway, realistically, their response should be one sentence saying, this is not the United States Constitution. But no, David.
That's it. Simple answer. No.
No, David. He says, Giordano says, instead, many will write how they never really actually read the U.S. Constitution, which is horrifying given the number of years they have attended school prior to taking my course. Others will reference Article 7, where it explains guaranteed minimum wages. Again, this is the Russian Constitution. Guaranteed minimum wages and salaries shall be established. State support ensured to the family, maternity, paternity, and childhood, to disabled persons and the elderly. The system of social services developed. State pensions, allowances, and other social security guarantees shall be established. And they praise the foresight of the founding fathers. They praise the foresight that our founding fathers obviously knew about minimum wage and paternity leave and social security guarantees.
Oh, so the founding fathers, they were like prophetic.
They were so prophetic, apparently.
They knew all this.
Giordano then says, needless to say, when I reveal the results and my deception, the look on the students' faces is priceless. The shock, embarrassment, and shame can be seen in their expressions. These exercises, however, have proven to be an invaluable tool to make my classes more successful, and they dramatically improve student engagement. That's what a good teacher does. Is gets the light bulb to go off in the heads of the students. It gets them to critically think, and that's exactly what his point is. He says, when they're like, wow, I thought it was kind of weird that, in the 21st century, like they were talking about these back when they wrote it, the founding fathers, like the students say it. But he says, my response to the student is always, why didn't you say anything or do any of your research? Do a quick internet search.
Yeah.
Like, why did you just go along with what was said and not question it? And they always say that since I'm the professor, they trusted me and I would know more about the subject matter than they do. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about what is happening at our universities. It's just blind leading the blind. We have professors who don't really know what's happening, telling students information and indoctrinating them with whatever it is that they believe because they don't actually know or want to tell the students.
Well, they don't want to read the Constitution in junior high and high school because they're told America is an evil country based on, whatever. And so that's another reason they don't read the Constitution. So it's sad.
Quite. But, well, it's not sad?
What?
Before we go, which is up next, as we're going to discuss a new law that bans meat advertising in the pursuit of utopia. And we're going to count down our top Babylon Bee headlines of the week. Please don't buzz off.
We want to hear from you. If you have a question or comment for Katie, David, or any of our other show hosts, simply visit stayeducated.org. That's stayeducated.org and submit your question or comment. Our team loves to hear from you and might just give you a shout out on air. Again, visit stayeducated.org and connect with us.
All right, before we go, how much do you like your meat, America? Well, a Dutch city just outside of Amsterdam is becoming the first in the world to ban meat advertisements from public spaces. Why, you ask? Well, it's all because of Mother Gaia and, of course, climate change. Starting in 2024, the city of Haarlem won't be saying, "Where's the beef?" Proponents of the ban argue the new law will help reduce meat consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. In addition, the law will ban advertisements for vacation, air travel, gas-powered vehicles, and fossil fuels. Fun fact, approximately 95% of Dutch people eat meat, including 20% every day. So Katie, is Greta Thunberg behind the scenes pulling the strings with a juicy Big Mac in her hand and laughing all the time,
How dare you?
How dare you suggest that I'm a hypocrite?
How dare you?
How dare you? Speaking of hamburgers, Heinz Ketchup is being forced to make a major change to the iconic label on their bottles. Why? Queen Elizabeth II has passed away. The company will now have to remove the royal warrant displayed at the top and front of its UK bottles. The distinctive image features the Lion of England, Unicorn of Scotland, and a shield divided into 4 quarters, followed by the words, by appointment to Her Majesty the Queen. Heinz is among 800 food and drink retailers making the same move following the late monarch's passing. So, Katie, even after death, Queen Elizabeth II is still sticking it to the man in a way.
Well, two things on that. Number one, Charles, feminine enough. Two, this is why you don't have a monarch. Just one of the reasons why you don't have a monarch.
All right. But finally, let's wrap things up with a great segment that's become everybody's favorite from the famous satire site, The Babylon Bee.
Here are this week's top 5 Babylon Bee headlines.
We've picked our favorite Babylon Bee headlines to see which one should be crowned Queen of the Hive numero uno. And let's start with Jean-Pierre clarifies that official White House policy is the opposite of whatever Biden says in interviews. 60 Minutes editor exhausted after pulling all-nighter, removing racial slurs from Biden's interview. Next, Border Town puts up Martha's Vineyard sign in hopes government will come pick up all their illegal immigrants. Next, Disney chooses bald actress to play Rapunzel in live-action remake. And finally, Spirit Airlines introduces new bargain flight where they just launch you in a medieval catapult. Catapult! Catapult!
That's so nice.
Katie, I know what my favorite one is.
You go first then.
All right, go back to the one after Biden.
The one after Biden? Border Town?
Yeah, the Martha's Vineyard one. The Border Town puts up Martha's Vineyard sign in hopes that the government will come pick up all their illegal immigrants. Actually, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah,
yours?
well, I usually go with the ones that involve Biden in some way because they're just always good. But you know what? Just to spice things up, not pumpkin spice, but just to spice things up, I'm going to go with the Spirit Airlines. Because if you've ever flown Spirit, hands in the air, because you're so parsimonious like I am, hey-o, yeah. I'll probably take that bargain flight, and I will be launched in a medieval catapult. Well, sure, why not?
Medieval catapult.
Might be more comfortable, and maybe they'll give me some peanuts. Maybe.
Catapult, spirit in the sky. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this segment anyway. More to come next time, Katie.
Well, that's it. There you go, my people. Make sure you do smash that like button if you're watching us on that social media screen. And please, please, please do send us your feedback, your questions, your comments, your concerns by going to stayeducated.org. For David, for myself, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting this show. Until next time, stay educated.